This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
And the time right now is 4:27. I want to welcome you into Good Morning Indiana. I'm Lauren Casey.
And I'm Meredith Barrick. We begin with an overnight shooting that has left 2 people injured. This all unfolding on the city's northeast side.
Yeah, both people had to be rushed to the hospital. And right now, we don't know any suspect information in this case or if they have anyone in custody. So, of course, we're going to keep you updated. This is at the Mason Gardens apartment complex near 42nd and Post Road. Of course, we're going to keep you updated as we learn new information. Now, we are learning more information about a person who is known around the world, known especially here in Terre Haute. Eva Kor, she passed away, as you have probably heard, and now we're learning more about when you can go to a memorial service here in town.
Yes, there will be 2 memorial services for her, these happening in August. Obviously, she passed away on the 4th of July in Poland, so there will be some steps needed to be taken to get her body back here to the States. Her first memorial service will be in Terre Haute, where's the place she called home for so many years. There will then be a second memorial service later in August here at Butler's Clues Halls. So we will have all that information coming up so that you can go pay your respects.
In other news, we want to bring in Todd Clausen. Todd, yesterday's weather was fantastic.
I loved it.
I told you it was going to get great in the afternoon.
Yeah,
as soon as that humidity went down, we had a little bit of a breeze, and we're kind of carrying that over. We'll kind of do the opposite here today. We'll increase the humidity, but just a smidge as we head into the afternoon and evening hours. It's really, really comfortable right now with a mainly clear sky, 68 in Indy, 63 in Zionsville and Logansport. These temperatures may go down a couple more degrees. Some of you in northern locations could climb into the upper 50s here as we go into the morning hours before we really start to warm quickly once the sun comes up. We're eventually up to a high about 88 degrees later on this afternoon, a few degrees warmer than yesterday. And again, you'll notice that humidity just a little bit. It's really back for the day tomorrow, and tomorrow's probably our only chance of some rain through this week. A lot of people after June, right? Everybody's like, stop raining, stop raining. Yeah. Now everybody's like, Todd, I need some water on my lawn.
Right,
so hot out, right.
It's drying up really, really quick. So tomorrow's the chance of some storms.
Okay,
all right,
Todd, thanks.
Well, we are following more stories for our hiring Hoosiers. Kind of a fun week as we're leading up to Shark Tank. It's the Shark Tank Inspiration Week this week, and we're looking back at a story we did here in Speedway about getting a small business loan to help your small business get off the ground, make your dream a reality. So we're going to talk to Sarah Fisher, who you probably know from the racing world, and how Small Business Administration here in Indy helped make her karting dreams a reality. We're going to have more on that story, plus your news, weather, and local traffic coming up here in just a few minutes.
This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
No one deserves to not be helped when you're capable of helping them.
Left for dead after partying with friends. That's what a mother says happened to her 17-year-old son when a night out ended in a car crash. This morning, her demands for justice.
Plus, an Indianapolis mayoral candidate faces a number of roadblocks to get on November's ballot. This morning, how his fellow independent candidates are showing their support. But first, here at 4:30, I want to thank you for joining us on Good Morning Indiana. I'm Lauren Casey.
And I'm Meredith Barrick. Elena Martella keeping a close eye on the roads. And meteorologist Todd Clausen here with another fantastic forecast ahead.
You know, today it's a typical summer-like day for you here in the middle of July. There's not a whole lot going on. No real big concerns or red flags for you as you make plans for this Tuesday. Yes, it gets a little warm this afternoon, but it's July. We're going to be about 3 degrees above normal in the upper 80s this morning. It's comfortable. The humidity still pretty low this morning. 64 in Bloomington, 61 in Crawfordsville and Greencastle. Richmond currently at 64 degrees. It's also 64 as you make your way up into the Tipton and Kokomo area. Here's the view from downtown off to the southwest here past Lucas Oil Stadium and Victory Field, and skies are completely clear across the area. That is some feedback on radar near Lafayette. There is no rain out there whatsoever with the clear skies, and we'll warm very quickly with sunshine here throughout the morning hours. There is a cold front off to our west, though, and that becomes a little bit of a player in our forecast for the day tomorrow. So until then, you'll enjoy sunshine. A quick warm up here this morning. We'll jump from about 60 degrees at 8 a.m. to 82 degrees already by the noon hour, and then high temperatures this afternoon will be in right around 88 degrees. The humidity comes up just a little bit this afternoon, I think you'll notice, but all in all, not a bad Tuesday Tuesday here across the area. The time now is 4:31. Let's get a first look at traffic. Here's Elaine.
Looking pretty good on the roads right now. Thank you, Todd. If you're coming in from this northwest side, heading southbound on I-65, your travel time will be 17 minutes from I-865 down to I-70. So everything's moving along just fine. A couple of overnight roadwork projects. Let's take a look at one of them. I-465 at I-69. You can see those NDOT crews out and those lane restrictions. Let's take a turn down to the south side. I-65 at I-465. The roads are dry down there. Coming up in the next 20 minutes, I'll go deeper into some of those road projects that you'll want to pay attention to.
Elena, thank you. Time right now is 4:32, and we're following breaking news from overnight. 2 people are recovering following a shooting on the northeast side. That shooting happened after 1 o'clock on Rue Riviera. That's the Mason Garden apartment complex near 42nd and Post Road. Police have not released what led up to this shooting, but we're told that both individuals were taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries.
My worst nightmares come true. I just want them to know, like, no one deserves this.
Left for dead after partying with friends.
That's what a mother says happened to her 17-year-old son when a night out ended in a car crash. A police report says a driver crashed into a rider on a moped on South Madison Avenue Friday morning. Marissa Cunningham says her son Caleb was in the passenger seat, not wearing a seatbelt, and slammed his face into the glove box on impact. He was knocked unconscious, and his friends did not call 911 for more than 30 minutes while they drove home. Now he's in a medically induced coma.
When he wakes up, what's his quality of life going to be like? It's not going to be the same. No child deserves to be left for dead just because of the selfishness of, of somebody else.
A police spokeswoman says a detective has been assigned to the case. No arrests have been made yet. Cunningham is using the hashtag Justice for Caleb on social media to spread awareness about what happened.
At 4:33, services are now set for a woman remembered as a giant and an icon. Visitation for Eva Moses Core will be held this Saturday from 4 to 8 p.m. This is at DeBon Funeral Home in Terre Haute. The funeral will be at 10 o'clock Sunday morning. Because seating is limited, the family is encouraging the public to attend a memorial service instead of the funeral. The first public memorial is set for Sunday, August 4th at Indiana State's Tilson Music Hall. A second memorial will be held Sunday, August 18th in Indianapolis at Clues Hall. Both start at 2 o'clock. Core died last week in Poland at the age of 85 after surviving the Holocaust. She made it her mission to spread a message to never forget the Holocaust, but also to learn to forgive.
3 hearings will be held next month as part of Governor Eric Holcomb's plan to make teacher pay more competitive. The hearings will be held in Indy, Evansville, and Elkhart. Locations and times will be announced later. Holcomb has tasked the Blue Ribbon Teacher Commission and its advisory to come up with recommendations on how to achieve competitive wages. The commission will reveal its recommendations prior to the 2021 legislative session.
On the Democracy 2019 front, candidates who do not sit on either side of the aisle are showing support for each other. Independents held a rally outside of the city-county building. John Schmitz is running for mayor of Indianapolis as an independent. He's facing roadblocks to get on the November ballot. He and other candidates are calling for unity and change.
I wanted to bring our group together, show that we can bring unity and that we are a viable force in this process.
Well, I had a great experience with my signatures, and the election board done a great job in verifying me. However, when I began to talk about it and contemplate it, I realized that the system itself is outdated, and we need to see how we can better the system and the process.
Schmitz needs around 6,100 signatures from registered Marion County voters to get on the ballot. He's already collected more than 8,000 signatures, but many have been thrown out for different reasons, like the signees not being registered or addresses not matching up. You can read more about this issue by going to the RTV6 app and clicking on the story.
If you paid for business coaching services that were marketed as a way to help you earn thousands of dollars a month, you could be getting a refund. Most people who bought the services did not develop an operational business, earned little or no money, and often ended up in debt, according to the Federal Trade Commission. The FTC tells Call 6 Investigates that at least 20 people in Indiana will be getting money in the first round of refunds. Hiring Hoosiers is RTV6's initiative to connect you to jobs in our state.
And Toyota Manufacturing in Southwest Indiana needs 400 assembly workers. The plant in Princeton already produces the automaker's Highlander SUV. The company is investing $600 million to upgrade that facility and allow for the production of 40,000 Highlanders a year. So it needs more people. The pay ranges from $18.95 an hour and goes all the way up to $29 an hour.
The key is we pay you as you're going to school, so you can raise your family, you can take care of your tuition, and after 2 years, you've got 2 years of work that you can put on your resume that's hard to get. So that is the critical point of getting people into the workforce. They actually have the experience to go in right off the bat and do the job.
Toyota is also making a special effort to encourage more women to enter manufacturing. By the way, the Toyota plant in Gibson County is about the size of 70 football fields. Well, here's your reminder to get your pitches ready. Shark Tank producers will be here in Indianapolis 1 week from today. The team from ABC will be hosting an open call out at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. The gates open at 6 with the event beginning at 9 o'clock. We have more information on the RTV6 app and also at theindychannel.com.
Today was the day drug prices were supposed to start appearing in TV commercials. Straight ahead, why a last-minute decision calls for a change of plans.
Plus, storms stranding drivers, washing out roads in our nation's capital. Just after the break, we're looking at the cleanup and the new threat eyeing the Gulf Coast. Todd.
Lauren, it's a nice quiet morning for us here across the area. The humidity is down and temperatures sit in the 60s anywhere you go under clear skies. We'll warm up quickly, though, here this afternoon with plenty of sunshine. More on that forecast and the rest of the work week coming up with Good Morning Indiana continues. The time now is 4:38.
RTV6 is working for you.
Welcome back to Good Morning Indiana. Time now is 4:41. Here's a look at I-465 at I-69. There was just some overnight road work, but you can see right now those lane restrictions have lifted. Crews have cleaned up. You should be good to go for your morning drive.
All right, Elena, thank you. Major League Baseball's best will face off tonight in Cleveland for the All-Star game. A new rule takes effect tonight. Every extra inning in All-Star play begins with a free runner at second base. The American League has won the last 6 All-Star games.
And a federal appeals court today considers the fate of the Affordable Care Act. Last December, a federal judge struck down Obamacare, deeming it unconstitutional after the individual mandate was repealed. At stake are the health care benefits for millions of Americans, including expanded Medicare and protections for pre-existing conditions.
A major win for protesters in Hong Kong. The city's chief executive says the controversial extradition bill is dead following weeks of massive, often violent demonstrations. The bill would have allowed suspects to be sent to mainland China for trial. The government failed to amend the bill, and there are no plans to restart the process.
It is 4:42. Stunning images coming out of the flash flood emergency right here in our nation's capital. As much as 6 inches of rain falling in as little as just 2 hours. As ABC's Trevor Alt reports, all that rain is leaving dozens of drivers stranded and basements of buildings, including the White House, flooded.
This morning, the D.C. metro area trying to dry off after nearly a month's worth of rain in one morning.
Never seen nothing like this before. Never seen nothing like this.
The torrent of rainfall washing out roads around Virginia and Maryland. Dozens of water rescues called in for stranded drivers, some of them forced to climb on top of their cars to avoid the rushing waters below.
I was stopped at the light. Bus came through. It was like a tidal wave hit. Boom!
The rain pummeling the area as thousands were on their way to work Monday. Commuters caught in the middle. In Arlington, Virginia, a train forced to plow through a waterfall coming down through the ceiling of a D.C. metro station, and what appears to be a raging river swamping this parking garage. Even the White House among those seeing signs of flooding. And electrical outages also reported at the National Archives building. Officials saying the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution are safe. Others not so lucky. A mudslide in Potomac, Maryland, collapsing the wall of this house, and in Virginia, a hardware store owner trying in vain to protect her business.
By the time I left the basement, I swam out of it. It was probably close to my shoulder height.
The floodwaters now receding as a new weather system takes shape. A possible tropical depression developing in the Gulf over the next 5 days, likely leading to heavy rainfall from Texas to the Florida Panhandle. Officials continue to share information about just how dangerous and chaotic this flash flooding was. In total, more than 75 water rescues have been reported in D.C., Virginia, and Maryland. Trevor Ault, ABC News, Washington.
If your travel plans take you to the Mississippi Gulf Coast, you'll want to pay attention. A blue-green algae bloom is prompting officials to put out a water contact advisory for Mississippi's beaches. It was just the latest advisory issued in response to the ongoing bloom. It also means the state's entire coastline is now off limits when it comes to swimming and fishing in near-shore waters. Beachgoers are still able to enjoy the sand, but not the water due to the possibly harmful effects of algae exposure.
I just hope they get this problem resolved and fixed before somebody's child does get sick.
The Pascagoula Community Relations Director says the primary concern of local officials is keeping residents, visitors, and beachgoers safe. Well, it's unfortunate that we don't have any beaches here for us today, Todd, because today sounds like a great beach day.
No, you can find a couple here and there, not big ocean beaches like that, but yeah, there's a couple on some lakes around here, and
let's not tell anyone to sneak onto private property.
Yeah, there's public pools too, and all right, so yeah, it's a great day to be by the water, no matter where you are here in central Indiana. As temperatures today will be climbing back into the upper 80s. The humidity today is pretty low this morning, but it's going to start to creep up as we head into the afternoon hours. So 54 is the dew point, and you've heard me talk a lot about the dew point the past few days. And essentially all I tell you need to know is once you start to get into the mid-60s, that's when it starts to become a little uncomfortable. And look what's going to happen here throughout the day today. It's going to be a slow climb up from the 50s through the 60s and then into the mid-60s this evening. So by this evening, it's starting to get a little sticky in spots, but overall, it's not going to be terrible. Tomorrow is the day that the humidity is going to be the highest throughout this entire week. 61 is the current temperature in Greencastle and Crawfordsville, 64 in Bloomington and Richmond, 66 is the current temperature as you make your way over into the Muncie area. But skies are completely clear this morning. It'll be a beautiful sunrise for us once the sun starts to come up here in just about an hour and a half or so. But then off to our west, you notice this cluster of storms. So these storms do not get here during the day today. Eventually, that cold front that's off to our west, that will arrive tomorrow, and that's really going to give us our only chance of seeing some rainfall this week in the forecast. It will not look as impressive as this as it approaches central Indiana during the day tomorrow, but a few spotty storms will be possible. But first things first, let's get you through today. We warm really, really quickly, all the way up to about 83 degrees already by the noon hour, and then eventually our high temperature today will top off at 88 degrees, normal high 85, so 3 degrees above normal. Then this evening, if you have plans, you are just fine. We will see the temperatures fall not as quickly as they did last night, but from the 80s eventually down into the 70s under a mainly clear sky. And for tomorrow morning, temperatures will be in the 50s and 60s, so a little bit warmer tomorrow morning. And that's going to lead to a warmer afternoon. As high as tomorrow, we'll be approaching the 90-degree mark across the area again with that storm threat starting to arrive. So let me go over to TrueCast for you quickly here before we wrap up, and you can see we just have a few isolated storms that are going to be developing throughout the day tomorrow as that front goes through. Consider yourself lucky if you see one tomorrow, because most of us will not. If you do, not expecting any severe weather, just a heavy downpour and maybe a little bit of lightning. So once that front goes through tomorrow, we're not as humid and a little bit cooler again for Thursday and Friday with mostly sunny skies and temperatures in the 80s, but then the heat builds back in as we go into the weekend with high temperatures that'll be climbing, Elena, up into the low 90s.
All right, thank you, Todd. Here's a look at I-465 at Michigan Road up on the north side. You can see traffic is moving, but a lot of people out there on the roadways for right now, so just pay attention to that. I'll keep an eye on this area for you. Let's take a look at the map. We have a closure because of a water main break. So this is over on the east side. Midhofer Road closed between East 42nd Street and East 52nd Street. So what we know is that this water main broke, caused the road to buckle a bit, so crews are working on the scene, but this closure is expected to continue through the afternoon, so just keep that in mind. You can always use Post Road, which is just to the west of Midhofer, or you can use German Church Road, which is just to the east. So pay attention to that if you are an east side driver. One last look at the roads right now. I-65 and 465 on the south side. Dry roads for your morning drive. Should be a breeze.
Elena, thank you. Well, you won't be seeing prices on commercials for medication. It's a new rule that was supposed to kick in today, but a federal judge nixed it. The Department of Health and Human Services announced this rule back in May. It would require drug makers to include the list prices in those TV ads you're used to seeing. But drug makers, including Indy-based Eli Lilly, pushed back, saying that ads could be misleading. Well, the judge agreed. Lowering drug prices has actually been a central focus of President Trump, along with lawmakers on both sides of the aisle.
Coming up, a Washington man runs into a burning home to save an 8-year-old girl. The reason behind his heroic act after the break.
Plus, the trial for a man facing a number of federal drug charges starts today, and our Aaron Lish is live with a preview of this case coming up all new at 5 o'clock. But first,
I'm Vinny Politan. Coming up today on Court TV, Scott Nelson on trial for murder has been convicted. And now the question for the jury is, what will they recommend to the judge for a sentence? Will it be life without parole or the death penalty? Well, yesterday, a dramatic day in the courtroom when Scott Nelson got on the stand and told the jury he wanted a death sentence. So today, the prosecution is expected to complete their rebuttal case, then closing arguments. Then the jury will have to make the ultimate decision for the ultimate crime. That's today on Court TV.
Don't forget, you can watch the all-new Court TV live on your mobile device by visiting CourtTV.com. You're watching Good Morning Indiana right here on RTV6. We'll be right back.
Working for you.
Welcome back to Good Morning Indiana. Time now for 54. Here's a look at 465 at Ditch Road on the north side. Traffic's beginning to pick up for this hour, so I'll keep an eye on this area for you as we do get into the morning rush.
Elena, thank you. Well, a man climbed the tallest building in Europe on Monday, and he did it without a harness. It was all captured on eyewitness video. The death-defying stunt on London's 1,017-foot Shard Tower, not surprisingly, is not allowed. Police got calls about this man around 5:15 in the morning London time. Emergency services got to the man, and he is okay, and police say he was not arrested.
Wow. A young man is fighting the pain of serious burns after rushing back into a burning house to save his niece. With gauze covering most of his body, Derek Bird wants you to know how special his niece Mercedes and nephews Junior and Rory are. That's why when a fire broke out at their home, he jumped into action helping the kid's mother. Derek ran downstairs to catch the children as his sister tossed them to him. But 8-year-old Mercedes was too afraid to jump, and when her mom fell off the roof, Mercedes fell back into the burning room.
She was screaming my name, so I wasn't going to let her just sit there. I was going to let my niece die. And I didn't care. I just ran right up there the stairs and then pushed right through the fire. Went right through the fire. I could feel it burning me. And then I got her. I took my shirt off, I put it around her face so she wasn't breathing any smoke. And then I just carried her out fast as I could.
What a hero. Mercedes and 6-year-old Junior were airlifted to the hospital, and so was Derek. The house appears to be a total loss, with firefighters and police just thankful nobody died, all thanks to the quick action of that loving uncle.
Wow,
amazing.
what a story there. All right, here at 4:56, we have something cool to look forward to. IndyCar driver Robert Wickens getting back behind the wheel. He'll be leading a parade lap at the Toronto race coming up on Sunday. Wickens will be driving a special Acura NSX that's team sponsor Arrow has equipped with some hand controls. It's the next step in his recovery from that horrible wreck last year at Pocono. His fiancée Carly will be in the passenger seat, and we all love a good Robert Wickens update.
Yes.
He's such a positive guy, making so much progress.
Yeah,
that's great.
So happy to see him there.
And he's Canadian, and the race is in Toronto, so it's kind of like a hometown like return.
It'll be a little more meaningful, I think.
Absolutely. So, all right, it's in the 60s right now as you walk out the door here this morning. 69 in Indianapolis, 66 in Muncie. And we're dealing with quiet conditions. The humidity right now is extremely low. That dropped yesterday. And as we work our way throughout the course of the day today, our temperatures will go from where you see in the 60s up to about 88 degrees. It's hot today. That doesn't mean that it's super humid. Yes, the humidity comes up a little bit, but overall, pretty pleasant day. Tomorrow's a very humid day with a high of 90 and the chance of some spotty storms. And then we keep the 90s around for the weekend. The time now is 4:57 rather. We'll get there eventually. We'll get there eventually here on Good Morning Indiana. Stay with us. We'll be right back.